Morning. We're going to do some reading out of the Book of Golden Precepts. Some Blavatsky. This one's called Karma. We're going to go into it a little bit. It is said that a little attention to occultism produces great karmic results. That is because it is impossible to give any attention to occultism without making a definite choice between what are familiarly called good and evil. The first step in occultism brings the student to the tree of knowledge. He must pluck and eat. He must choose. No longer is he capable of the indecision of ignorance. Yeah, eventually we do come to a point, right, guys, where you know too much. You can't play I'm new. I'm new, I didn't know. That's such a nice card to play when you can, isn't it? The indecision of ignorance. He goes on. Either on the good or on the evil path. And a step definitely and knowingly, even but one step on either path produces great karmic results. The mass of men walk waveringly, uncertain as to the goal they aim at. Their standard of life is indefinite. Consequently, their karma operates in a confused manner. But when once the threshold of knowledge is reached, the confusion begins to lessen. And consequently, the karmic results increase enormously because all are acting in the same direction on all the different planes. For the occultist cannot be half-hearted, nor can he return when he has passed the threshold. I like how it brings up the fact that eventually the karma starts really taking on. And that's true. Eventually you know too much. You know better. We know better. Eventually we know what we're doing. We know the choices that we make. You can't play the I'm new and I don't know card anymore. And eventually you go far enough in, you can't go back. You must go forward. These things are as impossible as that the man should become the child again. The individuality has approached the state of responsibility by reason of growth. It cannot recede from it. He who would escape from the bondage of karma must raise his individuality out of the shadow into the shine. Must so elevate his existence that these threads do not come in contact with soiling substances. They had used an illustration earlier in this book where she said that our lives are like fine threads that are twined together and pulled. And she had likened how when even one of those individual threads that is part of the whole becomes soiled, it affects everything else that is in that intertwined thread. Do not become so attached as to be pulled away. He simply lifts himself out of the region in which karma operates. He does not leave the existence which he is experiencing because of that. The ground may be rough and dirty, or full of rich flowers whose pollen stains and of sweet substance that cling and become attachments. But overhead there is always the free sky. He who desires to be karmaless must look to the air for a home, and after that, to the ethers. He who desires to form good karma will meet with many confusion, and in the effort to sow rich seed for his own harvesting may plant 1,000 weeds, and among them the giant. Desire to sow no seed for your own harvesting. Desire only to sow that seed, the fruit of which shall feed the world. You are a part of the world. In giving it food, you feed yourself. Yet in even this thought there lurks a great danger which starts forward and faces the disciple, who has for long thought himself working for good, while in his inmost soul he has perceived only evil. That is, he has thought himself to be intending great benefit to the world, while all the time he has unconsciously embraced the thought of karma. And the great benefit he works for is for himself. Wow. It's basically saying once you realize that your intention is to just clean yourself and work off your karma, you then start to not work off your karma anymore. Because you quit being selfless at that point. How easy it is to slip away. This is why it is more important, the intention of the mind, of the thought, than it is of the action. A man may refuse to allow himself to think of reward, but in that very refusal is seen the fact that reward is desired, and it is useless for the disciple to strive to learn by means of checking himself. The soul must be unfettered, the desires free. But until they are fixed, only that state wherein there is neither reward nor punishment, good nor evil, it is in vain that he endeavors. He may seem to make great progress, but someday he will come face to face with his own soul and will recognize that when he came to the tree of knowledge, he chose the bitter fruit and not the sweet. And then the veil will fall utterly, and he will give up his freedom and become a slave of desire. Therefore be warned, you who are but turning towards the life of occultism. Learn now that there is no cure for desire, no cure for the love of reward, no cure for the misery of longing, save in the fixing of the sight and hearing upon which is invisible and soundless. Begin now, even now, to practice it, and so 1,000 serpents will be kept from your path. Live in the eternal. Woo! Starting to sound strict, isn't it? Not so easy anymore, does it seem? This is what I mean when I say there are rules to this spirituality, this occultism, this theosophy. It's not all just about flowers and buttercups and gumdrops and rainbows. It's actually about discipline. This is why people don't like to hear it. The operations of the actual laws of karma are not to be studied until the disciple has reached the point at which they no longer affect himself. The initiate has a right to demand the secrets of nature and to know the rules which govern human life. He obtains this right by having escaped from the limits of nature and by having freed himself from the rules which govern human life. He has become a recognized portion of the divine element and is no longer affected by that which is temporary. He then obtains a knowledge of the laws which govern temporary conditions. Therefore, you who desire to understand the laws of karma, attempt first to free yourself from these laws. And this can only be done by fixing your attention on that which is unaffected by those laws. What is that? What is that you fix your eyes on that is unaffected by the laws of karma? Well, that's the one. That's the one who made the laws of karma. God. Your higher self, you must ascend to your Father. funny. It's like a danged if you do, danged if you don't scenario. Trying to understand, do things selflessly, but then once you realize that there is a benefit to self, is it selfless anymore? Are you being selfish? The loop. But once you realize that when you just follow God, when that's all you're trying to do is do the Lord's will, you avoid karma then, and not for selfish gain. You are merely a vessel, a tool, a channel for the Creator's will. Yes, I believe that Blavatsky is talking about the same God that Jesus talks about. Yeah. They share the same Father. Y'all have a good morning.